Alright, friends, man. We're back with a brand new video, my amigo friends. And we're gonna do a reaction video to the Gym Fitness, Recruiting Fitness Gear Slave himself, Recruiting Slave, fucking, you know who, Jeff Nippard, man, yeah. So we're gonna do a reaction video to Jeff Nippard's video. Jeff Nippard says, everyone thinks I'm wrong about training. You are wrong about training, but anyways, let's review this. Let's react to this video.
The internet thinks I'm wrong. Really wrong. And apparently, it's a big deal. I've been on the record for at least the last year or two saying that the stretched part of a lift is more important than the contracted part of a lift. If you watch me at all,
Why?
you've heard me say this. How does an
Why is the stretch part more important than the contractile, Jeff Nippard? Why? Why is that? Why is it more important?
exercise make it into the top? So I have three criteria. The first
Why did he tell us why it's more important?
is high tension and high stretch. If I pull from here, I'm getting so much.
Okay, high tension, high stretch. And what does that do exactly? If you're stretching muscles, stretching them? Because I see sports people, they stretch their legs before they do a 100-meter run. So I see people stretch their arms, stretch their legs, belly, and everything. What does that do exactly? What is that going to do?
More of a lat stretch. You're gonna get this big stretch here, which you'll be able to see. I'm all on the stretch wave these days. But the thing is, not everyone agrees with me.
Science-based lifting has lost the plot because
Science-based lifting has lost the plot. Interesting, okay.
recently every science-based giant creator has been obsessed with the stretch. You know this.
They have? They're obsessed with the stretch. I heard, yeah, this is catching on like fire now, yes.
New wave of training that everyone's in. This is the stretch.
If you think that stretch mediated hypertrophy,
It's the stretch. Oh, the stretch. That's the magic secret. Broski, we are unveiling the magic secret. It's the stretch, broski.
it's going to be the silver bullet
man.
that gets you from making no gains to being the next Ronnie Coleman. Not the case.
Oh my God, it's the secret bullet to getting no gains or becoming Ronnie Coleman. Stretching your muscles. Okay.
And that's because most of the studies that I've been referencing that show a benefit of the stretch have been on untrained lifters or beginners. That's
Untrained lifters or beginners. So what did he mean by beginners? Ah, they were untrained. The trained people were trained athletes, but did things they were untrained doing. And then the people that first came in who were never trained, well, they're obviously untrained as well. This is funny. Okay.
not a huge deal, but it was starting to eat at me.
Everybody knows everything works in the beginning and then it stops working. It's kind of obvious.
Whenever I see a video like that of Jeff Nippard, I listen, but I'd rather hear it go hard.
Science this, science that, science, science, science.
Length and partial.
They don't have the significant impact.
People are going to walk back on the stretch stuff in 5 years.
I was starting to worry that maybe I was
stretching.
overhyping the stretch. Sure, the same mechanisms that drive muscle growth in beginners should also apply to experienced.
The same muscle growth that drives muscle growth for beginners? What is that? What is that? The stretch? Is it the stretch? Jeff? Is that it? That's what drives it in the beginning? And so what happened? You stopped stretching it or something?
It's lifters, but without a good study on well-trained subjects, it's hard to say for sure. So I only had one option.
Oh, so you need a good study on well-trained subjects. Ah, okay.
To link up with the best exercise science team in the world and do the research we desperately need. So I flew to New York.
So people that have been stretching their muscles repeatedly in the gym, lifting weights like lifting slaves, you want to do a test on them to see if the stretch is going to magically make it grow. Well, why didn't it grow before? They're stretching it, aren't they? They're stretching it. They're lifting weights, bro. Get it? What are you talking about?
And kicked off the only study that's ever been done on range of motion in highly experienced trainees. First, as I'm sure you all know, full range of motion is when you go all the way up and all the way down.
Yeah, that's full range of motion, going all the way up and all the way down. You're stretching. Aren't you stretching? You're stretching, right, bro? He's getting the stretch, man. Come on.
Partial range of motion is when you don't use a full range of motion. And a lengthened
Oh, so partial rep is when you don't get the full range of motion. Oh, which partial rep? On the eccentric or concentric? Which part, dude?
is when you use a partial range of motion while the muscle is more lengthened or stretched. Again.
Oh, okay. So you're using a partial in the lengthened stretch position. Yes, I got it now. This time I listened to you very carefully, and I'm getting it. It's getting there. I'm getting there, Jeff. Yes.
Whenever I say shorten partials, you should be thinking big squeeze. And whenever I say lengthen partials.
Oh, the big squeeze. Is that what the pump comes from? When you squeeze it at the top, you pump it up, don't you? And then when you lower it, it's stretching. Oh, okay, I got it.
You should be thinking big stretch.
Yes, big stretch when it goes down. Okay, got it, bro.
Now, to get everyone up to speed, before starting our study in New York, there were 5 steps.
Must have been me. I've lost a few IQ points listening to the fitness influencers like Jason Blaha. I'm losing points every day.
Studies comparing shortened partials to lengthened partials.
Okay.
Lengthened partials cause significantly more muscle growth every single time. And there were all.
Wait a second. He's comparing lengthened to shortened partials. So compared to concentric, concentric has more muscle growth. What type of muscle growth do you get when you do concentric full partial at the top? What do you get there? What kind of muscle growth is that at the top? What kind of muscle growth is that at the bottom?
Also 5 studies comparing lengthened partials to a full range of motion. Lengthened partials cause significantly more muscle growth.
Lengthened partials get you more muscle growth, cause more growth. What type of growth? What type of growth?
Of 5 times. Together, this is strong evidence that focusing on the stretch should cause the best gains.
Look at that exercise. You notice he's using his back and not rowing with his arms. See, like in his last video. Oh.
So,
see that? He's pulling with his back muscles. Did you see that? I gotta go back, man. This was cute. This was fucking cute, broski. Hold on.
Significantly more muscle growth 4 out of 5 times.
Right.
Together, this is strong evidence that focusing on the.
Oh, wait a second. He's using his arms. The back is supposed to be pulling it backward and then stretching out again. Your arms are supposed to be lengthened, bro. Why are you bending your arms? Bad boy. You bad boy. I gotta give you a spanking. A spanking, bro.
Stretch should cause the best gains.
No. You're using your arms. You're cheating. It's your back muscles are supposed to stretch out and then pull the weight. Your back is supposed, your shoulders and your back area is supposed to pull in. Gotta give you a spanking for that, broski.
Why are some people so skeptical? Well, one theory the skeptics have been saying is that the only reason lengthened partials seem to work so well is that they're causing something called sarcomere addition. That's when your
stretching a muscle causes sarcomere addition? Just stretching it? I never heard that anywhere. That stretching your muscle gets you sarcomere addition. But okay, if you say so.
Muscles grow bigger in length rather than growing bigger in thickness.
I thought there had to be injuries in there, and then it grows more additions in those injuries inside the fiber, not just stretching it. It's adapted. If it's adapted, it's stretching. There's no micro injuries in there. There's no micro injuries. How could you get addition of sarcomeres? You bad boy, you're lying to us. You need another spanking.
But the thing is, sarcomere addition only seems to happen in beginners. After a few months of training.
And he says sarcomere addition only happens in beginners. Okay, you want me to give you the secret why? It's really simple, broski. I'm gonna give you the secret why in beginners they get these fucking sarcomere number muscle fibers, broski. All right. Okay, so it's in this section right here. It says right there. It's this section. Hold on. I'll try to get it to come up again. I don't know why it's not coming up fully. There it is. So this is whatever you call it, the fucking machine talking to you, the AI. And then here it is. This is this part right here, this section right here. So this is NCBI at the bottom here. This section's from NCBI. It says a unique feature of Eccentric. That's what he's doing, right? Eccentric, the lengthened partial eccentric exercise, is that untrained subjects become stiff and sore the next day afterwards because of damage to muscle fibers. Oh, okay. Let me see if I can find one more, because he said addition of these sarcomere number in muscle fibers. Okay. I think it's this one here. I'm not really sure. This could be this one. Exercise-induced muscle damage and adaptation. Yes, it's this one. I found it. I'm amazing, bro. I'm a genius. I'm such a genius, bro. All right. Let's see what the problem is here. So it says here, following a single bout of initial exercise. So sometimes it tells you there's an addition of these there was an addition of these sarcomere number in muscle fibers. Physical conditioning results in an adaptation such that all indicators of damage are reduced following repeated bouts of exercise. So when he says stretching, where really what you're getting is muscle damage in the beginning. You're damaging muscle fibers. So they're not damaging anymore because they've adapted. That's why they're not damaging. So he's just stretching. That's why he's not getting any more growth. It happened in the beginning because it said a unique feature of eccentric exercise is that untrained subject become stiff and sore the next day due to what? Damage. And it says right here, physical conditioning results in an adaptation such that all indicators of damage are reduced following repeated bouts of exercise. So there's no more growth. Yeah. I know that it's resilient from further assaults, because it'll tell you here at the bottom, it says it's the reason why it's not damaging anymore. Stress susceptible fibers may be eliminated, or susceptible areas within a fiber may undergo necrosis and then regenerate. These regenerated fibers, along with adaptations in the connective tissue, may provide greater resistance to what? Further assault. See what I mean? The whole thing is it'll protect itself from getting damaged anymore. The eccentric part, it protects itself. How does it do that? By giving you more addition of these sarcomere number and muscle fibers, a bunch of stuff. In other words, when it reconstructs itself bigger and stronger, it's resistant from further assaults, because you gotta use more loads to try to damage it, to get it to become what? To adapt by growing bigger and stronger. So every time you come back, you gotta lift heavier and heavier and heavier than the last time. But you will be able to lift heavier and heavier because you're gonna be stronger. You're gonna get bigger and stronger, but you're too lazy because you haven't figured out it's the eccentric exercise that causes that damage to cause muscles to grow. Myofibrillar growth, get it? And the sarcomere number in muscle fibers. So, it's post-exercise period before tissue are repaired. The damage progresses in the post-exercise period before tissues are repaired. Yeah, we all know that. I mean, if you are a real connoisseur, then you know that. That's why at the top here they tell you a novel unaccustomed exercise has been shown to result in temporary repairable skeletal muscle damage. Huh. Oh. See what I mean? Anyways, okay. There's one where it tells you you have to go through all these sections. I can't go through all of them, okay? So, yeah. MR measurements of muscle damage adaptation after eccentric exercise. I don't know if I've read this one. Did I read this one before too? This is an interesting one. I have not seen this. This is a test on men. Wow. Oh, okay. Subpopulation, whatever. This is interesting. I'm gonna have to go over this one of these days. There's a lot of stuff when it comes to. Hold on a second. Here we go. Maybe it's this one. Oh, this is too long. We need PubMed shorter versions. Those are way too long, man. Yeah, here it is. It could be this one. Here's one. The magnitude of muscle strain does not influence serial sarcomere number adaptations following eccentric exercise. Okay, I have no clue what they're talking about there, but whatever. The following chronic eccentric exercise serial sarcomere number adaptations were not identical between the 3 eccentric exercise protocols. The serial sarcomere number adaptations were not uniform across all regions of the muscle. Peak torque and relaxation, yada, 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 whatever. Okay, sarcomere genesis. So sarcomere genesis and differential adaptations within the muscle may be explained by the ununiform architecture of muscle, resulting in differential local fiber strains. Yes, okay, whatever. This is not the one I'm talking about. Look, in addition to DOMS and RBE protocols, muscle injury has been treated as a global parameter. The muscle forces strain assumed for uniform, whatever. It has been generally accepted that eccentric exercise, when performed by a muscle that is unaccustomed to that type of contraction, results in a delayed onset muscle soreness. So what would be unaccustomed? Well, let's see. If the last workout that you did an eccentric exercise, let's say you used 50 pounds. Okay, if this time you're using 60 pounds, then you're unaccustomed to doing it, so it should get damaged. If it's done vigorously, it has to be done vigorously with that 60 pounds to get damaged. So the last time it was 50, this time we're going 60, next time we'll go 70. So every time you increase the weight, you're unaccustomed, your muscle is, your eccentric movement is unaccustomed to that exercise. Get it? You understand, bro? It's kind of obvious, but whatever. I can't go through all of these, okay? I've done this before on my channel. I'm not going through it now again. It's a lot of work to go through this. Here it is. Addition of sarcomere in series within a fiber. There's another PubMed one here. You could read this for yourself. They got a contraction resultant gain of sarcomere there. Serial sarcomeres. They got a gain of serial sarcomeres. Downhill running, these guys that were running downhill and shit. Adaptations in the flexor knee. They did some downhill running. They got damaged. And then it goes on and on. There's so many of them. I'm not gonna look them up now. Anyways, sorry, I lost that video. Shit.
After a few months of training, sarcomere addition is no longer possible. Therefore, their argument goes.
Whoa. Sarcomere number is no longer possible after the first time you lift? So after that, you can't build any more muscles? So what's the point of coming to the gym then if you can't build any more muscles? Oh, you want to be a lifting slave? Okay. This guy's really stupid.
Lengthened partials really only work for new lifters. So to put this argument.
So let me get this straight. So lengthened partials, the eccentric for muscle damage, right? If you're damaging muscles the very first time you come to the gym, you're damaging muscles, but you're no longer damaging them anymore. That's what he just said. A unique feature of eccentric exercise is that untrained subjects become stiff and sore the next day due to muscle damage. And he said after the addition of those sarcomeres, after you grow muscle, you can no longer grow any more muscle. That's what fucking Jeff Nippard just said. So what is the point of going to the gym lifting if you can't build any more muscles? He just said it.
To the test, we recruited participants with an average lifting experience of 4.9 years. Like, one of our subjects literally looks exactly like a young Mike Israetel. It's kind of insane. These guys and gals are not.
He looks like a young Israetel. Either he's taking steroids or he's eating bagfuls of potatoes.
Beginners. And this will show us if lengthened partials really are best left for newbies and their sarcomere
Oh, really?
addition, or if they work on more advanced subjects too. Here's how it'll work. For the next 8 weeks,
Brother, it's not I have to do the lengthened, it's not I gotta do the lengthened partial and squeeze my face because I went halfway. The point of doing a lengthened partial is because you can't make the full concentric. That means you've actually put load on the eccentric. Christ. Does anybody know how to fucking lift weights out there anymore, man? Give me a fucking break, bro. Listen to me fucking. When you lift a fucking heavy weight and you can't make the concentric, that means all the load is placed on the eccentric. You shouldn't be able to do a full contraction. You understand me? If you can do a full contraction in the concentric form, that means it's too light going down, motherfucker.
Each subject is going to train one side of their body with a full range of motion and the other side with lengthened partials. So when they do curls, they'll do one arm like this.
They're going to do it with a light weight. So how the fuck could you get any damage in there again and repeat the first cycle like the lifters did in the beginning, you stupid ass?
Full long, and they'll do their other arm like this, staying in the bottom half in the stretch.
So he's going to lift the same weight that he could lift for concentric. He's going to try to do it just for the lengthened partial. That's so fucking dumb. That is just as bad as the last video he fucking did about, we're supposed to go really slow down. Fuck off.
They do pull downs, they'll hit one side with a full ROM, and then they'll hit the other side with all lengthened partials.
Whatever.
Each subject is going to train one half of their body with one of two methods. So one half of their body is going to be full range of motion. The other half is going to be long length partials only. This is a really strong study design. The problem with the more common study design of splitting subjects into two groups is that you run the risk of one of the subjects in one of the groups having such amazing genetics that it skews the results.
No, he didn't have amazing genetics. He was the one guy that actually placed more load on the myofibrillar and got more growth. The rest of them, they were lazy. They didn't know what they were doing.
Group might seem to be better because of the way they were training, but really it was just because they had a freak of nature.
Oh yeah. Oh, because they took steroids and they faked it. They faked the muscles, the fake gains. Yes, of course.
Driving the average up. We won't have that problem in our study because by using the within subject unilateral design, each subject serves as their own control. And this is the full training program they'll be running. They'll be doing 4 sets for each exercise with a mixture of a moderate rep range and a slightly higher rep range. And in case you're worried about them not pushing their sets hard enough,
they are not going to be pushing their sets hard enough. They're not.
Each subject was told to take every set to muscular failure. Plus,
yeah, but if you're doing a lightweight, taking it to muscular failure, that's fatiguing. That's not muscular failure. Muscular failure means eventually you won't be able to lift that weight. So I don't know what rep, because sometimes I have to do a little bit more than usual to reach that range. I don't know what that range is. You don't know what it is. It could be 5 by 10. It could be 6 by 10. It could be 7 by 10. I don't know what it is. So sometimes I go to that point where I lose the muscle strength. It can no longer move the weight anymore. My arm can't move the weight anymore, or my bench press, I can't do it anymore. That I know that now there's too much damage in the muscle fiber. It just won't contract. Here's the thing. The more damage the muscle fiber takes on, if you are getting damaged, then you lose contraction. You lose contraction. You can't contract the muscle anymore. Then you know that you've actually caused enough damage. That's another indicator. That's an indicator you've caused enough damage when there's no contraction in the muscle.
we had a team of researchers watching them.
But only when you're unadapted and doing something that you're, doing a lot of something that you couldn't do in full range of concentric. You're doing eccentric.
Reset.
We are pushing participants hard. Everyone I've spoken to in the study said they were training harder in the study than outside the study. One more, let's go. You got more. Again.
They're not training hard enough. It has to be rapid and fast firing. It has to be rapid movements. Heavy, rapid movements. He's going really slow, and he's making noises. Ooh, ooh. He's not even doing it properly.
Stay upright. Just your arm. Just your arm. Finish it. Let's go. Control. Pause. Again.
Oh, whatever. This is such bullshit, man.
Pull. No break. Go. Pull. That's it.
For the people who will say that science-based
3 reps is not enough. It's an overworking of that muscle, not overtraining, overworking it. You got to overwork it in a very heavy eccentric load. This was really stupid.
lifters don't
And you have to finish it for 10 reps. 3 reps is not enough.
actually train hard. I guarantee you, in this study, they do. And then, after 8 weeks, we're going to use ultrasound to measure
I guarantee you they don't. They don't.
which side builds more muscle, the side doing lengthened partials or the side doing full range of motion. All right, let me show you around the lab.
Neither.
This is the lab where the subjects are going to be training. We've got a Smith machine.
Full range can't damage muscles because it's too light on the downforce. On the eccentric coming down, it's too light because it was heavy enough to be pulled up. If it was easy enough for him to pull it up, then going down is going to be a lot easier. And if it's easy, it's not. There's not enough tension placed on the eccentric.
And power rack, a few benches, a bunch of dumbbells. Got the leg press over here, seated calf machine, seated leg curl. Got lat pull down, got a free motion cable over here, and then just some strength testing equipment and that sort of stuff over there. At the start of the study, we showed all the subjects how to do lengthened partials. We told them that it's really important that you still
Yeah, you're going to tell them how to do it? Man, come on. Or are they fucking that stupid?
control the negative. A lot of people think of partial reps as cheat reps, so they just let their form go loose and do these herky-jerky, bouncy, fast reps. But all the same technique instructions for full range of motion reps still apply to partial reps. So you still control the negative, you still do a slight pause in the full stretch, and you still use an explosive positive. A lot of people, when I say partial reps, they just start sending it. And it's like, no, it's the same exact technique you'd use on full range of motion, just cut the range of motion in half. Dr. Wolf here is one of the world.
Yeah, the only difference is that you have to use more load on the eccentric. The same load that you would use that was heavy enough for you to get it to go to the top on the concentric, well, then you have to triple it going down on the eccentric because, remember, you're going with gravity. You're going with gravity. You understand me? So it has to be double, triple heavier than what it was going on the up force. See what I mean? Otherwise, that muscle, it ain't damaging Borowski.
Leading experts on the topic of range of motion, and based on the accumulating evidence, he's actually been doing lengthened partials exclusively for the last year.
How do you know if the weight is heavy enough in the partial eccentric motion to get this damage? It's really simple. If you can't curl that weight to the top, but you can move it partially, but you can't curl it all the way to the concentric, then you know it's heavy enough to cause damage to the myofiber. That's right. And then it will adapt by growing bigger and stronger every time you come back. And then you have to hit it with heavier loads.
That's crazy. He hasn't done a single full range of motion rep in over a year. And I've got to be honest, his physique is looking great, especially his quads. Holy crap.
Yeah, because he doesn't look that great to me, man. I don't care. But whatever. He's a young guy, but he doesn't look that great. And this is sarcoplasmic. I'm 100% sure, because this guy doesn't know anything about lifting himself, too. He just does a lot of bullshit like you, Jeff. You take steroids. You made a video. You take steroids. You're all cheaters, all of you, because you're influencers. You don't know how to build muscles. That's why if you knew how to build muscles, then you'd know how to explain this already. You'd already be doing this a long time ago. You wouldn't have to keep making video after video after video on it.
But he's not the only one excited about the prospect of long muscle lengths. Dr. Eric Helms, someone known for being a skeptic.
Dude, we already know in science that eccentric exercise is associated with muscle damage, and that's associated with myofibular growth. We know that concentric exercise is not associated with muscle damage. We know that concentric exercises are associated with sarcoplasmic hypertrophy and not myofibular hypertrophy. So what the fuck you talking about, Jeff? Who the fuck are you fooling, man? Like, how many things do you have to keep putting out? Fake things.
And a late adopter has expressed optimism recently as well.
Why is range of motion better? Well, it's probably because it includes these longer muscle lengths.
We're losing some stretch on the lat.
Why is range of motion better? What? I don't understand. What are you talking about?
So how do we account for that? I simply angle it. So that I'm reaching around my rib cage, I'm actually getting stretch on the lat.
And Dr. Mike Isertel, someone who's literally made full range of motion an entire division of his online brand, has also embraced the idea that the stretch most likely matters the most.
The stretch does matter the most. but you don't need full range of motion. If you could do full range of motion, that means it was too easy coming down on the stretch. See what I mean? If he was able to lift those weights to the top, then coming down would be lighter. Why? Because it's going with gravity. It's too light. It's got to be heavier.
On the net aggregate of muscle hypertrophy, should you still be biasing the majority of your training into lengthened position? Yes.
So, with these leaders from the scientific community behind us, we started our study. And for the next 8 weeks, all 30 subjects just followed the plan. Every person did a full range of motion on one side.
Yeah, they did a full range of motion, but they didn't use excessive loads. Do you understand me? It's you have to be loading the weight. You got to load weight on there. Man, this is frivolous, this fucking thing.
And lengthen partials on the other side. And after a really
frivolous and vexatious, this lifting here, these lifting slaves, this test sucks. That's why it's a shit test. That's why I don't like any of these tests. They're garbage.
Intense, carefully monitored 8 weeks of training, the results were in. So it's been 3 months.
That guy that did that, the hammer curl there, or whatever, the tricep, he did a full range. So he cheated. It's garbage.
Since I was in New York, the results are in, and we finally have an answer to the question of whether or not lengthened partials work well for experienced trainees. I, however, do not know the answer to that question yet, because I told everyone else in the research group to not let me know the results until everything is done and all the statistics have been crunched. I don't know why. I'm a little bit nervous. This experiment was a lot of work. I'm going to hop on a call with Dr. Pack and Dr. Wolf, and they're going to share with me everything that we found. Hey. What's up, boys? Have you guys seen me since I cut my hair?
No, I was about to say.
I got the buzz cut going.
Who's the Polish hooligan?
So I asked Dr. Pack and Dr.
How can these people that are fucking considered influencers be so dumb not to know that eccentric exercise is associated with endurance lifting, and eccentric is associated with muscle damage? How could they not know the difference between the two? Are they that dumb?
Wolf to present the findings to me on a graph. So here on the whiteboard, you can see that on the y-axis is muscle growth, and on the x-axis are the two conditions. Yeah. So the full ROM side and the lengthened partial side.
Let's do it.
The hype!
You're legit hype.
I actually am. Hey, I care about this stuff.
Full range of motion.
Let's see it.
I'm sure he cares about it.
6.6%. Trained lifters, 8 weeks.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Okay, so I mean, is it
5.9?
Is it safe to assume that is basically the same?
No difference.
Now, just to be clear.
And you want to know why there was no difference? Because they were adapted to the exercise. They're adapted, and they didn't do full loads. That's why they didn't get any growth. See what I mean? So why is there no difference between full ROM and lengthen? Because they used the same weight that they were using in the full ROM. Get it? Yeah, that's defeats the purpose.
Statistically, this is no difference. If you just look at the graph, you might think maybe full range of motion did a bit better, but it didn't. I mean, this is what the graph looked like for the biceps. Here, it definitely looks like lengthened partials came in on top, but no, there was no statistically significant difference here either.
Yeah, it will a tiny bit because, I mean, they were focused on it. They did it vigorously, just that. They focused just on that. They weren't going all the way up, down, and fooling around. See what I mean? They got a tiny bit. But had they really put in the effort, they would have got a lot more.
That's because you need to account for random variation, genetics, measurement error, etc. And so if the difference...
And anyways, the people that did full range of motion on the left, man, they were doing mostly concentric. They're doing concentric work, bro. Get it? It's associated with endurance, therefore they're loading glycogen. They're misconstruing any growth there of any kind of muscle. It's fucking glycogen, bro. So you can't compare the two.
Isn't big enough, you just can't score it as an actual difference. All right, so of all the possible outcomes...
Look, you can't compare the two. I'll explain this why. This test sucks. It's fake. The reason why Jeff Nippard is an idiot and this test is fucking garbage is because doing a full range of motion, concentric, right? the concentric motion all the way at the top, when you squeeze your muscle at the top, well, you're squeezing it, right? If the word lengthen means lengthening and squeezing, okay, what do you get when you squeeze a muscle at the top? Nothing. Is there any damage there to the muscle? No, absolutely not. So how could you compare concentric with eccentric? If eccentric is associated with damaging muscle fibers, what's concentric associated with? Nothing. It's associated with what? Endurance athlete, pumping glycogen in the muscle. So the two are totally different. And he says, we're going to do the test and see which one builds the most muscle. Well, neither one builds muscle, bro. Get it? Because one will just load glycogen in the muscle. It'll hypertrophy through the sarcoplasm. That's artificial. It'll hypertrophy, definitely. And the other one is based on muscle damage. It has to get a donation of these nuclei to support further muscle growth, and their protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown to see that mass on that myofibrillar. So how could you compare the two? One damages, and the other one, it just loads some glycogen in there. You pump it in there. See what I mean? This is stupid. What a shit. This is shit.
Didn't know what to make of this at first. But having sat with the data for a while...
Man, concentric exercise does not build myofibrillar growth, bro. Get it? Eccentric does, because it damages it, and then it goes through a repair and a remodeling and a donation of the nuclei and a bunch of stuff.
Now, I think you can look at it two ways. You could say that lengthen partials didn't work any better than full range of motion. So if you love doing a full range of motion...
No, it does. It does. It does, because one builds myofibrillar growth, the other one pumps glycogen in there. Duh. So you can't compare the two. It's like peaches and apples. What an idiot. That's why these tests suck. He sucks, and these tests are fake.
Go for it. Or you could say...
Just like his channel. It's fake, bro. Get it?
That you can get the same gains as full range of motion by doing...
You can't get the same gains as full range of motion. You can't. You can't get the same gains in myofibrillar growth as you would in the eccentric form in concentric. It's impossible. Impossible. Fuck. Man, this guy's an idiot. Concentric doesn't damage muscle fibers. Eccentric is associated with damage. Tells you that in science. Tells you everywhere. Everybody knows that. When you pull your arm down, why do you think it tears? And it tears apart. It falls apart. You go lift a heavy weight, you tear it. Did it tear on the up force? No. Where did it tear? On the down force. Duh.
Half reps, as long as they're in the stretched half. If you were to come to me 2 years ago and say you had one group that did half reps for their whole training program, and you had another group that did full range of motion, who do you think saw better growth? I would be like, well, obviously full range of motion.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Full range of motion saw better growth. Pumping what? Glycogen in their muscle, getting sarcoplasmic hypertrophy muscles, you fool. They didn't get better growth in myofibrillar growth, you fucking asshole. It's kind of obvious. You want to know why? Because even science tells you that. I proved it in all my videos before. I'll do it again here. What an asshole, man. Christ. This guy's the biggest asshole on the internet. Right here, this is the reason. I'll explain it to you. So he said he brought trained athletes to lift in the gym, right? Okay, these guys are trained. Look, muscle fiber hypertrophy in response to 6 weeks of high volume resistance training in trained young men is largely what? He said full range of motion. They're doing full range of motion in this PubMed fucking test, okay? So what was it largely attributed to? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Their growth is fucking highly attributed to sarcoplasmic. About that. I got cut off there for a second.
But now...
I got cut off there. So it's highly attributed to sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, just like you saw, dude. It's really simple.
Oh, what we've essentially found is that groups doing half reps on every exercise for the entirety of their program were able to get equivalent.
Half rep. Look how lazy it was. The guy just stood there and went like this with like 10 pounds. He goes up and down, up and down. What's that gonna fucking do? What's that fucking gonna do, dude?
equivalent gains to the group doing full range of motion. Oddly enough, this study did convince me that lengthened partials are worth doing. And I've actually been including them more in my own training since our study. That's because if I can get the same results with half the...
He barely moved his foot there. You have to bend your knee all the way back. You should fix this thing so you can bend more. Duh, you need more stretch on that myofiber there on your leg, you stupid idiot.
Range? That's pretty sweet. On some exercises, doing a full range of motion feels a lot.
Oh man, this is stupid, man. He just goes like this with the weight. Full half a range, he goes up and down, up and down. No, man. It has to be fucking loads, heavy loads, you fool.
Harder, or it's more annoying. So,
and it has to be very specific the way you're moving the weight.
Why go through that extra pain of doing the full squeeze if it's most likely not giving you any extra gains? Think about it. According to our study, even when the subjects completely cut out the squeeze on every single exercise, they still made the same gains. So the squeeze just can't matter that much for muscle growth. If it did, we'd have seen some...
Matter for muscle growth, you mean muscle damage. One causes damage, the other one grows through the sarcoplasm, you fool.
Significantly more growth with full ROM. But we didn't. That said, I do think this study will temper some of the expectations around the stretch. While I do still think that the stretch is the most important part of the range of motion, at least for most muscles, focusing on it exclusively.
Yeah, the stretch is important. If you to damage it, if you're getting it damaged, I don't know what the fuck you're doing there. Yeah, if you want to grow myofibrillars, then yes, you have to damage them by repetitively stretching them. Yes, definitely. You fool.
Doesn't seem to supercharge your gains, at least not in experienced subjects. Do you feel like that with this?
Because they're not experienced then. Those subjects are not experienced in what? In eccentric lifting, you fool. You fool.
Buddy, you would walk back your enthusiasm for lengthened training, or do you feel even more enthusiastic about lengthened training?
So just because you don't know what the fuck you're doing, that doesn't mean other people don't, you fool.
Say a single study should only shift your enthusiasm by so much, and in this case, with the results being null, meaning no difference in hypertrophy between full range of motion length and partials, it shifts my prior stance by a slight amount towards the effect being smaller than before. I do still think, if I had to bet, what causes more growth? For a beginner, for an advanced lifter?
Muscle damage causes the most myofibrillar growth. Eccentric exercise doesn't damage muscle fibers, doesn't cause myofibrillar growth. You understand me, bro? And protein causes growth. The damage with the protein will grow muscles. That's what it'll do.
What have you. I would still bet on lengthened partials. Not by a huge margin, but I would still bet on it.
But I think it also depends on the specific exercise.
I'm gonna have to agree with him. I would bet on the lengthened partials, definitely, yeah. As providing there's a load on their load.
Because, depending on the exercises you're doing, I think maybe you would see a benefit with lengthened training. So yes, if you're skipping the stretch, I do think you're missing out on some gains. But there's a lot of wiggle room. If you're an experienced trainee and you prefer training with a full range of motion, that is clearly an effective approach. If you prefer to do half reps, that'll work at least just as well, as long as you do them.
But he said that these people that were trained, the first training, that's where they got their sarcomere number and muscle fibers and this growth and whatever, muscle fiber growth, right? And then he said there was no more after that. Well, then what's the point of going to the gym if there's no more growth? And so he says, okay, let's try it on trained lifters. So what was his analysis? There's no growth. There's no difference. There's no growth. So if there's no growth, why are you going to the gym lifting weights? Why are you all lifting slaves? Jeff Nippard just proved to you, you are wasting your time. You're all losers going to the gym. There's no growth. Because after the first time, there's no more growth. So why are you going there? What to do? Doing what?
In the stretch test. If you consider all the other studies on new lifters, you could easily still make...
See, all the studies on the new lifters right there, broski. Hold on a second. Right there,
maybe
broski.
More optimal than a...
Right there in that study, bro. It said right there. See that? Hold on a sec. I lost it there. Hold on. Right there in that study, lengthened partials caused more growth. In the people that were the first people that lifted when they first came into the gym, then there's no more growth, he said. Remember?
All the other studies on new lifters, you could easily still make the case that lengthened partials may be more optimal than a full range of motion for some muscles, especially muscles like the calves and hamstrings, where those other studies testing those muscles found bigger results. I also want to give a quick shout out to my nutrition app,
So you found bigger results on those muscles. Why? Because they were easier to load more weight on them? Is that it? What an idiot, man. He didn't even tell you why. Why? What caused more growth in those particular muscles that he just popped out, like the calf or whatever? Because he was able to he was able to load more muscle on the stretch, or more weight on the stretch, because he was too lazy and too stupid to load it on the other muscle groups. What a twerp. Oh, man.
Factor. We gave free access to all the subjects in the study so they could log their nutrition while in the study. The app uses science-based algorithms to update your nutrition each week.
Ooh, it uses science-based fucking app. Give me a fucking break.
Based on changes to your unique metabolism over time. We've got over 180,000 users, and we've had some absolutely incredible transformations from people.
I don't want to
know. Our code up here.
I don't want to know.
Length and partials.
Whatever, man. I'll see you in the next video. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. All these fucking videos on building muscle, and all you need to know is what each one builds. Sarcoplasmic and fucking eccentric and concentric, what they both do. He doesn't even know what the fuck they do. This is dumb.